Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Catholic Cocktails. This is a weekly video production of Salt and Light Catholic Radio in Boise, Idaho. This is where we gather once a week and we raise a glass and share a toast with some of our famous saints of the Catholic faith, based on this book here, Drinking with the Saints by Michael Foley.
So each week we introduce a drink and a saint of the week. We'll lay everything out right here. Then we send it over to Teresa Zapeta, who will tell us way more about the saint. We'll get a little bit of an education on their life. She'll send it back to us. We then have the bartender kind of tell us how to make the drink, and then they'll make it for us, and then we get to try it and talk about what we learned.
That's right. This week we are going to highlight St. Frances Xavier Cabrini. And because she did some mission work in New York, we are going to make the cocktail, the Manhattan, which I have been waiting for months.
Classic. Okay, here's the deal. If you're looking to broaden or start making cocktails and you want a knowledge base, start with a Manhattan, a sidecar, and a whiskey sour or something like that. It's definitely one you should have in your repertoire. Don't mess up.
Fun to say.
Repertoire.
So what are we going to need to make this Manhattan?
Okay, so you're going to need your usual stuff: ice, shaker, strainer, and all that. But a Manhattan is usually served in a rock glass, and it's like a round one. You know, in my head, I usually like the ones with the designs on it, because you put the big ice cube in the middle.
That's what I have at home.
Yeah, and so it has a very specific look.
It's like a cue ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge piece of ice.
Yeah. The biggie.
All right, well, let's send it over to Teresa Zapeta, and we're going to learn more about St. Frances Xavier Cabrini.
On November 13th, the church honors St. Frances Xavier Cabrini. She has the distinction of being the first U.S. citizen to be canonized a saint. In fact, she took the oath of canonization in nearby Seattle, Washington. She's also included into the National Women Hall of Fame. That was in 1966 in New York City. She was born Maria Francesca Cabrini in Italy, the youngest of 13 children. Her mother was 52 years old when she was born. Of those 13 children, only 4 of them reached adulthood. And it was really iffy if Maria Francesca would live to adulthood. She was born 2 months premature, and she remained frail and in ill health all her life. She only stood 5 feet tall, but what she lacked in stature, she made up with in will and tenacity. She founded the Missionary Sisters of the Sacred Heart, but in her heart, she always had a desire to be a missionary to China. And so she approached Pope Leo XIII, asking his permission to go to China as a missionary. Her hero was St. Frances Xavier. I wonder if that's why she has the name St. Frances Xavier Cabrini. Anyway, the Pope said to her, not east, but west. Bishop Scalabrini, her bishop, asked her to go to the U.S. to minister to the Italian immigrants here in our country. The Pope gave her permission to do so. Here she was, an immigrant who was almost turned away. The bishop, the Archbishop of New York, met her at the docks in 1889, telling her to stay on the boat and go home. They did not need her there. But again, this woman was a giant in courage. And her reply was, I have a papal commission. And so she left that boat, fortunately for the rest of us. An interesting thing about Mother Cabrini was that She did not like the sea. She had a fear of drowning, and yet she made that trip across the Atlantic 25 times. She ended up founding about 70 institutions throughout the world. These included orphanages, schools, hospitals. She died on December 22nd in Chicago in one of her hospitals while preparing Christmas gifts for the orphans. Her feast day is celebrated on November 13th, the day of her beatification. And in the extraordinary rite, it's celebrated on December 22nd, the day of her death. The classic drink, the Manhattan, is such an appropriate drink to toast Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini, whose works of mercy have reverberated throughout the world, including in Manhattan. During this upcoming holiday season, in which you no doubt will play host or hostess to a number of guests, practice your Manhattan making skills so that they will be perfected, so that in the new year, on November 13th, you will have the Manhattan down pat to raise a glass to Saint Francis Xavier Cabrini.
Thanks, Teresa. As we do every week, we film Catholic Cocktails right here at the Harp Irish Pub and Eatery in Meridian, behind the bar. Liberty has joined us once again, and we've just got 2 ingredients. That's how simple the Manhattan is?
Simple but amazing.
All right, so what do we have?
All right, for this classic cocktail, it is very subtle and it's smooth and tasty for sure. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill some ice here. And then it's a bourbon. It's 1.5 ounce bourbon, and if you're gonna do bourbon, Woodford Reserve. Yes. If you're gonna do it right. Now, I love doing this one because it's got like a, by the fire, sitting by the fire, cabin, smoky, just.
Now, when you make these here at the Harp, you were telling me off air that you tend to smoke something?
Oh, no, that was at my restaurant I worked at in Hawaii.
All right.
Which I could, I was thinking of actually bringing that up to Jamie. But
I've seen them at the store as far as, you can actually buy a smoker for your home.
Yeah,
bar.
they're really cute. They're really fun.
So are you smoking the alcohol, or are you smoking
Nope, you
the
smoke
ice
little
cube?
chips. You put it on little chips, and then you put the glass over. And so you let it smoke. Oh, it's
interesting.
Yeah, that's actually it's a burning Manhattan.
Okay. But we would hate to see Manhattan burn, so maybe we'll
It
leave
really
that to the
gives it that
experts.
classy, it's a real classy taste and.
So 2 ingredients.
Yep, there we go. And so this one we do a
and
3/4.
bourbon.
Yep, and the 3/4, and it's a sweet vermouth.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do a little, we're gonna stir.
So it's stirred, not shaken.
Yeah, stirred, not shaken, because you don't want to break down the vermouth or the nice whiskey.
Okay.
And then
We have
watering
the
it down.
Oversized ice cube.
Yep, so do 1 big ice cube there, in a nice little rock glass, our pretty little Dublin.
That is cute.
Dublin Crystal.
Dublin Crystal.
I know, isn't that
Just
pretty?
exclusive to the Harp.
Yeah, well, it is now. Heck yeah. We handpicked it out.
Nice. Just for the show. We appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
And we brought yeah.
So then we just strain that right
Since
in
we
there.
couldn't go to Dublin, we went to a counter at a store and found Dublin. There we go, my dears. And then it says 1 cherry, but I don't think you could ever have too many
Oh,
cherries.
you're too good to us, Liberty.
There we go. Look at that. You almost don't want to drink it. It's too pretty.
All right, here we are, the moment of truth.
Woo woo.
Dive right in. Ladies first.
We'll be able to spill this one maybe. That's pretty good. I didn't know if I'd like it or not, but
Now, are you a bourbon drinker?
not much. No, it's
Yeah.
a little strong for me. If it's a whiskey or bourbon drink, it has to be heavily mixed with something. I thought you might like that.
She had me at bourbon.
I was gonna say, she done did good, real good.
So Mother Cabrini, as we have learned, one of the finest missionaries in Catholic history. She
Yeah.
just did so much for the church.
Right. Yeah, well, she did a lot of work, especially in the United States. I know we hear about like St. Ignatius went off and dealt with the Indians, and then there were some who went to China, and some saints who went to like Africa, you know, and whatever. But she did a lot of work here in, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, she wanted to go to China.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
the Pope said, no, we've got all these Italian immigrants going to the States, and that's where you're more needed is in New York, hence the Manhattan.
Yeah.
So all
he
the
knew that they needed the search.
Yeah.
He knew that they needed that support because, as you know, when it comes to the United States, there were a lot of, like, each culture kind of had their time of persecution. You know, like
Right.
the Irish came and the Chinese came, and everyone
The
kind of had their,
Italians.
right, everyone had their moment of persecution. And so she was kind of there to help feed them, not only physically, but also spiritually.
Yeah. My mother's side of the family, my great-grandfather actually immigrated to the United States in 1902 from
nice.
the east coast of Italy. So, you know, the immigration issue has always been kind of near and dear to my
Right.
heart. But, you know, those people, they had to really fight to be American. And they took that to heart. You know, they never wanted America to become another Italy. It's like, I'm from Italy, but now I'm
Right.
American. I came here for a reason.
Right, and just I think for them to have Mother Cabrini, and she started so many, I guess, institutions or organizations there.
Yep.
I mean, she started hospitals and orphanages and schools and all different kinds of organizations to help people have that leg up to
Right.
help them move forward and be successful in the United States, which is
Yeah.
what everyone kind of was striving for.
Yeah, absolutely. America, that great big melting pot. So, but they got to do it right.
Right.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. So, I guess if New York City had a patron saint, it'd be Mother Cabrini.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the Big Apple saint patron. I guess is what the book was telling me. But, yeah.
Patron saint of the Big Apple.
Yeah.
That looks good on a business card.
This is
Yeah.
my car. That's funny.
Well, that wraps it up about Mother Cabrini. We thank you for joining us here. Hit subscribe, give us the thumbs up, because our boss likes to see lots of those thumbs up. If you have
Please.
any comments, maybe you make your Manhattan a different way, leave your recipe in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And, you know, like we said, subscribe, because that way you don't miss a weekly episode. We give you that little nudge to tune in every Monday when the next episode of Catholic Cocktails gets released.
Yeah, so make sure to hit that like button. All the stuff that Brian just said, I don't have any new information. But
Who are we going to do next week?
yeah, next time we look forward to our Christmas special, which I'm
Is
not,
it time for Christmas
I know,
already?
already. It snuck up on us. Sneaky sneak, snake a snake.
Well, you're not going to want to miss the Christmas special, because we're going to our boss's house and she goes all out for Christmas, and we are all going to share our own personal holiday drinks, our favorites
or
that we've
just like
grown
our
up
favorite
with.
drink. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll talk about our patron saints, and it'll just be fun, chill.
A good hangout sesh.
Yeah, so you don't want to miss our Christmas special. So until then, St. Francis Xavier Cabrini,
Pray
pray for
for
us. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.